Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out why this thing has zero compression. Now what I've done is I'm feeding some compressor air into it, and depending on what we find, we'll see if a valve is hung up or what its story is. So here, let me just crack this a little bit. You guys hear that? So sounds like the intake valve is hung up. You guys can see I'm at top dead center, and you kind of have to lock the crank, if not the piston will go to the bottom. So anyhow, I think I'm going to give this a couple of taps, see if we can't get it to seal. Hey tubers, so I put the wood block on it and I tapped it, and it seems that I got rid of the hiss. I'm hearing some from down in there, which isn't a huge surprise, right? You know, some sneaking by the rings. But I think we got that sealed. I mean, I'm putting a lot of pressure on it, right? And even with it off, it's taking a while to leak out. So I think I got that valve to seal again. Probably what I should do is time it up and see what kind of compression we have. Though it really doesn't do me much good. I don't have spark. Well, anyway, let's see if the timing's out and what the story was with this, with the valves and the cylinder and the engine compression integrity, and then we'll go on from there. No, no one was injured in the wreck. Anyway, I pulled the side cover off and, you know, flipped it so that you guys could see what's going on. Not all that hard to do, you know, just a bunch of 8mm bolts. So it came off easily enough. And I have to be honest, the person who did this actually did a half decent job. They put a new gasket on it. What I would have done differently, and it probably would have sealed it, I probably would have put some gasket goop on here. Maybe before I did that, I would check to see for places it looked thin, so to speak. I might have double gasket and once again gooped up the whole thing, well, particularly from here down on both sides with gasket goop, and you could kind of pick your poison with that. I think it would have sealed. The reason why I'm spending so much time with this, these covers are very hard to put one's hands on. I've said it a million times, these particular quads are known for throwing the chain and damaging the case. Normally the case gets damaged up here. It's kind of strange, it got whacked down here. Yeah, I think with a little effort this could be made to seal. The second problem for this thing though is the pulse generator. That's this thing here. You could see the pulse generator does ground by hooking to the case, and it does hot with this blue and yellow. And you could also see that this is all shaved off. The screw holes don't look all that boogered up, so I'm a little surprised that it got so close that, once again, the nub got shaved off of that. Right now this thing is showing an open circuit. This is opened. I think I'm gonna take these off, take a look at them. Once again, the reason why I'm spending so much time looking at this cover is it's valuable. They're hard to get. It's probably worth, you know, $200-300 if it's functional. So I'm trying to see if it can't be made functional. You know, the problems you run into if somebody's already fussed around with a bike like this, it's like they've been inside. I know the kid that worked on it, he's a good kid, but he's probably, I wouldn't call him an amateur mechanic, but you know, he doesn't work on race cars for a living. So, and he didn't get this thing new. His hands might not have been the only set of hands that have been in here. So it kind of makes you wonder about what else is messed up. Yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cover back on it, and I'm going to check the timing. I'm not exactly sure where the timing should be on this. Roughly, it looks like it's in the right place, but that doesn't mean it's a notch up or a notch down off. You can tell it's roughly in the right place because both lobes are down at top dead center, but they could be down and, you know, one tooth off. I won't necessarily be able to see that. So I want to double check to where the timing mark should be. As I look at the timing mark, quite honestly, it just appears to be floating out in the middle of nowhere. So that's why I got to check. Even Harvey has to go back to the books once in a while. Okay, I'm gonna mess around with this some more, and I'll get back with you. Well, I found out the reason why I had no compression. Remember, I banged on the valves to get things loosened up, and then I did a leak pack on it. It didn't seem that the valve sealed, so I took off the intake manifold, and lo and behold, somebody left a bit in there. So this must have hung up in the valve. Oh, DeWalt number 2. And that must have been what was causing me the trouble. Anyway, I corrected the timing on this thing. I put her all back together again. I made sure the valves are loose enough. Right, and you do that with these things on here. And I think I'm ready to try another compression test. Unfortunately, we also pulled the cover off and realized that the pulse generator is kind of screwed up, and I'm not sure if that's fixable. I'm not sure what kind of condition the case is in. My tendency would be to replace the entire side cover. But anyway, let me rig this thing up for a compression test and see what we get. So it's all rigged up for a compression test. Let's see how she does. This is a dry compression test. So it looks like it came in, I don't know, 125 plus a little bit. So this engine seems to be sound other than that stator cover. Theoretically, if I had another stator cover to put onto it, this engine I think would be ready to go. I'm really not seeing anything else wrong with it, right? I have compression. Obviously it pumps oil because there was oil running out of there yesterday. Yeah, if I just had a cover to put on there, it'd get rid of that leak. It would give me my pulse generator back, and I think that's all of it. So, I think we've taken this engine as far as we could take this one. Now, I either have to swap it, or I have to come up with a cover, keep this one on here, put a new cover on it, and go forward with it like that. I really hate to spend $300 on a cover. I don't know. Maybe I'll dig up a pulse generator, smash that on there. Hopefully it doesn't rub anymore. It would be hard to tell that the pulse generator tolerance is pretty tight. So it's not like you got a lot of space. And the thing is, once the cover is on, you really can't tell if it's rubbing or not. You just kind of put it together and let it go. If it is rubbing, should it tear the pulse generator off, or if it tears the magnet off the flywheel and that magnet gets loose and around. I mean, as soon as the magnet's off, you'll lose spark, but depending on how fast you're going, you can still be turning the engine over pretty good. And if that magnet gets anywhere important, it's going to do damage. So, you know, whenever you're messing with a shaky engine, it gets rough. Really what this one needs is a new cover. So if there's anybody out there with a TRX200SX motor with a good cover, or even if you have a chain damaged cover, but the stator and pulsar are all where they're supposed to be, quite honestly, I'd be interested in getting the whole motor from you, and from there, either I could repair the cover, or, you know, do measurements on your good cover against my cover, because I'd really rather not take apart a theoretically running engine to do all that. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember, feet down, heads up, and get out there and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.